on how y'all doing. So I know they don't like to hear and talk about it, but I gotta talk about it. Slavery is just as important as the Holocaust. And I don't like it when folks like to downplay it. Because actually slavery's repercussions carry longer when you factor in that with what happened in the United States and when you go from Dred Scott to Jim Crow to everything in between, with all the slave owners on the dollar bills and what they represent, and you're still, um, you know, dealing with the ramifications from education, institutionalized systematic racism, and how the police and the brutality and the murders and the lynchings, it's just the same, even more extreme in some cases. All due respect to the Holocaust because that was sad and it still is. However, they never talk about American slavery and the ramifications and the whole legislation and the whole politics that's still involved. That's still with the Electoral College and how they will allow someone into the White House based off of the same things they used as property against black folks. Don't talk about it. Jewish people in Hollywood have thrived. They've been paid. There have been reparations. It's been ingrained about the severity. American slavery against black people has never gotten half the circumstances. You've had lying, jive, sleepy people like Joe Biden talk about, well, I'm gonna get to reparations or I'm gonna. They keep sweat you to death. They don't do nothing, but they talk a good game, you know. We're still dealing with never being accepted as citizens in this country and dealing with that. So all I say is this: slavery in America is just as important to discuss as the Holocaust. What African Americans have had to deal with here for over 400 to 500 years is right there with the Holocaust. And in cases even more extreme, when you factor in police brutality, the lynchings. If I can go from Emmett Till to Trayvon Martin, I can cover, a good 60 years situation. What have they learned? What have they done? And we're still talking about Black Lives Matter, and they chained an auction than what has happened in 400 to 500 years. So, yes, it should be talked about in the same capacity, even more so. And black folks should get reparations, not no presidency, not some zaddy talking about what they gonna do, like there's some wrestler what they gonna say and do, because Congress and none of them care. It's just a lot of lip service. So that's how I feel. It should be taught in schools just as much. But you know what, the critical race theory, which is really American history, which they never teach the truth. There has been no learning about real history in America because the black experience has been whitewashed and they've sold slave owners on those dollars. So that's how I feel. The American slavery is just as deep as the Holocaust. And in some cases even deeper when you understand no reparations, the lasting impact from families upon families of education, of generational wealth, and the repercussion, all the stuff that circulates and continues to go on to this day, because the impacts are still felt 400, 500 years later. I kid you not. You don't believe me? Ask somebody, ask a black person whose family had to go through Jim Crow, whites only, etc. In the military to serve a country, they didn't want to give them rights. Civil War, well, these idiots, these racist pieces of trash still run around these Confederate flags who also wanted to say Trump won and all that other stuff. It's still tied. Please hit the like and subscribe. I welcome thoughts and comments, and I do respond. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for one another, and you ain't got to worry about history repeating itself. You got to worry about it never being told into its true content and full capacity. Because that, my friend, is where the danger is when you don't tell black significance towards American history.